lives. You can still see the Colosseum, where gladiators battled and Christians were fed to the lions. The Aqua Appia that delivered fresh water 10 miles into the city. And the Forum, where Julius Caesar lived. This was the cradle of the mighty Roman Empire. And in a world it helped to shape, Rome is still a powerful influence. On the city's outskirts, 17-year-old Marica Diana is preparing for the climax of her motoring season, the final race in the Italian Formula Ford Championships.
It's a passion that I believe I have in my veins, in my blood. It's something that comes from inside.
Una cosa che viene da dentro.
These cars race at 140 miles per hour. Competition is intense. To have even a chance of becoming professional race driver, she must win the championship. First, though, in the chaos of central Rome, Marica has to take a different kind of test. She might be the fastest 17-year-old driver in Italy, but Marica doesn't yet have a license to drive the family car.
Sto attenta alla telecamera.
Sì, non ti preoccupare, ci sto attento io.
Sono un po' agitata poiché...
I'm a little bit worried because I've never taken a car into traffic with other people.
Con le altre persone. A Roma...
In Rome, they're all a bit mad.
Che pazzi.
Ce l'hai? Bloccato, puoi muoverlo tranquillamente.
Per me prendere la patente significherebbe spostare.
To get a license means that I'd be independent, that I could finally get around alone.
Da sola.
Marica passes easily. Her real test will be on the track tomorrow. As the day of the Palio horse race approaches, tension is building in the city of Siena. Members of the 10 competing neighborhoods are marching into the central square for the most important event before the race. They've come to witness the horse lottery. Only 3 of the horses are thought to have a serious chance of winning. A horse will be picked at random for each neighborhood. And only when this draw is complete will the neighborhood captains decide which jockey they will use. Alberto Riccieri, like the other top jockeys, is waiting outside Siena to avoid being mobbed by the emotional crowd. He prepares his riding gear and waits for the call asking him to race. But he knows his fate lies in the hands of the neighborhood captains.
The horse lottery is a real moment of hope. You pray that if you get a horse, you get the best one.
Ti tocchi il cavallo migliore.
The lottery is an ancient tradition. Horse handlers representing each neighborhood wait in front of the stage. First, a horse is drawn. Then a neighborhood is matched to it. It is all down to luck.
Numero 7. Chiocciola.
Immediately, one of the favorites is drawn. For the lucky neighborhood, elation. Alberto gets a call. Bad news. Another jockey has already been chosen.
Aquila.
Then the next favorite horse is drawn. It too goes to a rival jockey.
Ma porca maiala, che infame. Che aveva ma che
8.
An unknown horse is drawn, and a wave of panic hits the crowd.
Onda.
Disbelief overcomes the unlucky neighborhood. Alberto gets the news from his friend. Still no offer of a ride. The lottery is over. Another one of the neighborhood captains is trying to secure a jockey. But he doesn't call Alberto. With a handful of horses still without riders, Alberto abandons his weight and rushes to Siena. The central square has emptied. Only a few of Alberto's friends wait to offer consolation. The neighborhood captains have left along with their newly received horses. And then a call.
Sandro, dimmi tu.
The small neighborhood of Lupa throws Alberto the chance he has been praying for. They have drawn one of the favorites, and the captain wants Alberto to ride it.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
It is the perfect match. Lupa is the neighborhood where Alberto was born.
I am really happy to ride such a great horse. It's a dream come true. I was born and baptized in this neighborhood, so this palio will be special for me.
Lupa has not won in 26 years. The hope of the entire community rests with Alberto. In 2 days' time, he's going to be racing in the Palio. Along the romantic canals of Venice, everyday life seems like a performance. But its gondoliers are governed by strict rules. By law, they charge fixed rates, and they are forbidden to work independently. Instead, they operate from stations and pool their earnings. But their gondolas are privately owned. Traditionally, they are passed on from the father to son, along with the skills of rowing in the unique Venetian style. Alessandro Mozzato, however, is the first in his family to attempt to become a gondolier, so he's been trained by Doriano Bossetto. A stationed captain, he comes from generations of gondoliers.
Sì, un po' emozionato, sì. Stavolta devo fare solo la mia prova, devo aver fatta adesso.
Sono molto emozionato. Beh, Doriano è un gondoliere che ha
Doriano's got years of experience.
Il suo occhio esperto appunto ha visto dei particolari.
He's noticed that the position of my feet could be improved, which can make my rowing more fluid and make the trip more comfortable for my passengers.
E anche più comoda per chi poi sta in barca.
Alessandro has to learn to row with skills rather than strength. The slightest mistake can tip the gondola off balance.
Riuscire a vogare magari non è molto difficile, però
Rowing is not so difficult. It's keeping my body in the correct position. That's the hard part.
mantenere la posizione giusta.
Adesso lo vedo da qua, so già che ti va essere.
Quando il remo esce dall'acqua.
When I take the paddle out of the water, that's when it's dangerous, because you could lose
C'è il
balance.
pericolo di perdere l'equilibrio.
Gira sempre omogeneo, va bene.
As Alessandro receives some last-minute tuition, two of the gondolier's examiners are selecting his test route just a few canals away.
Poi c'è quello che è abbastanza
Difficile?
È abbastanza difficile.
Questo qua è molto complicato.
Perché c'è una curva stretta e poi il ponte è basso.
Each year, they receive hundreds of applications. To find the best, they make the course as tough as possible.
So many young Venetian people wish they were gondoliers, but it's not easy. Only 2 or 3 are successful every year.
Soltanto 2 o 3 riescono in un anno a potercela fare.
Alessandro's wife, Erika, is praying for his success. She comes from generations of Venetians, and she wants her young family to stay, but it is difficult in what has become one of the most expensive cities in the world.
If you want to buy a house, you need to sacrifice a lot in order to save enough money. Everything is generally more expensive compared with other towns in Italy. Living here, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. All the canals and bridges make transport, commuting, and taking the kids to school difficult.
Erika believes in her husband's dream. If Alessandro were to become a gondolier, it would be much more to her than just extra money.
To be the wife of a gondolier would be amazing, because gondoliers are a symbol of Venice. I love this city. So if he makes it, I'll be so proud of him.
Bene. Ok. Fai un po' una sciata, fermala un po', fermala. Piano, senza scossoni, piano. Scia la barca.
Tomorrow, Alessandro must row 6 examiners along a course revealed to him only at the last minute.
I'm really nervous about the exam, but it's such an important opportunity for me. I can't afford to waste it.
Fermo, piano, che vengono avanti,
In Rome lies the headquarters of the Roman Catholic religion, the Vatican. From here, the Catholic Church has reigned for 17 centuries. A separate city-state within Italy, it is the smallest nation in the world. Its buildings were designed by Italy's greatest architects, including Michelangelo. His dome of St. Peter's Basilica still dominates the Roman skyline. The Vatican's most famous resident and leader of the Church is the Pope. His spiritual and political influence reaches around the world. But in the 21st century, even in a country where every village is built around a church, the Catholic faith has less relevance than ever before. In Orvieto, one of Italy's most beautiful cathedrals lies almost empty of worshippers. More tourists than Catholics marvel at the 13th century frescoes, and today barely a quarter of Italian families attend Mass regularly.
Mi porta a me a celebrare l'Eucaristia e a godere.
The amount of people coming is less than what it was in the past, and I don't say this with joy. Naturally, I dream of the churches being full.
And yet, 85% of the population consider themselves Roman Catholic, showing how the idea of the Church continues to influence life in Italy. On the eve of a race, Marica and her father offer their prayers. Rolando has guided his daughter through each stage of the driving career, but to become professional, she will have to leave home to follow her racing ambitions. Nearly all young Italians stay at their parents' home until marriage. With her last amateur race tomorrow, Marica is one of the few who are prepared to leave their family to follow their dreams. Ever since it was invented, nearly 100 years ago, motorsports has become almost a religion to Italians. Today, young hopefuls are pursuing their dreams of speed at the National Formula Ford Championship. Marika takes refuge in her pre-race rituals.
Quando sto per entrare in pista,
when I'm about to get on the track, initially I'm calm. Then slowly, I start to get anxious. I start to think about not doing anything wrong and to get the start right.
Formula Ford might be the junior branch of motorsport, but Marika will reach a speed of 140 miles an hour in a car 2 inches above the tarmac. A lapse of concentration could be fatal. After winning the last 6 races, Marika needs a top 3 finish to win the championship. As ever, her competitors are men.
When I get on the track, I think that I have to win, and I give everything.
Marika's family has supported her passion for speed since she was 12. They live through each race as their own. Halfway through, Marika is overtaken. She must hold the 2nd position to win the title. Other drivers continue to attack, but Marika does not give up. And throughout 12 grueling laps, she does it. Marika wins the championship, if not the race. She is the first woman ever to claim the title. She has broken the tradition of male dominance, and to become a professional race driver, she's ready to break the teenage tradition of staying at home.
It's a choice I've made. It's something that I love. So if the chance comes to drive professionally, I'll welcome it and will be prepared for every step. To travel far from my family, from my friends, move towns, and even move countries. I am ready for anything.
Cambiare città, cambiare paese, sono pronta a qualsiasi cosa.
Along Sicily's coastline, daily life moves to the rhythm of the sea. While most of the fishing boats wait in hope for the fish to return to the Mediterranean Sea, Jimmy is preparing for an underwater training session with his star student, Michele Rallo.
Michele came to see me at the swimming pool one day and told me that he wanted to learn the art of holding one's breath. This young man, who is 2 meters tall, had the will to stay in the water, but was unable to achieve very much because he based everything on his physique. I had to explain to him that he had to put all this aside, that he had to learn about mental strength.
Doveva affacciarsi a una nuova apnea, un nuovo modo di intendere l'apnea, cioè un modo mentale.
Michele is competing in the Italian Freediving Championship in 1 week's time. It is the first competition he has entered, and he's aiming to reach a depth of 170 feet, 20 feet deeper than he has been before. It is a dive that will keep him underwater for around 4 minutes. Most people cannot survive past 2.
It's important to train specifically for competitive dives. Now that free divers are going deeper into the abyss, it's essential to be 100% fit, to be confident, to be safe, and to make sure nothing bad happens, because ultimately it's extremely dangerous.
Non succederà nulla di grave, perché alla fine è pericoloso.
Jimmy is concerned with the way Michele is using his monofin. During a deep dive, any swimming technique that's less than perfect could prove fatal.
One of his mistakes is that he doesn't accentuate the dolphin movement, and he doesn't use his legs to kick strongly. If we're able to improve his kicking movement, we'll be able to better his performance, since wasting less energy means he can dive longer.
A tutto vantaggio della durata del tuffo stesso.
In his first competition, Michele cannot afford to make any mistakes. At 170 feet underwater, he'll have no easy way to safety. All Michele can rely upon is himself and the legacy of his seafaring tradition. Along the coastline of the largest island in the Mediterranean, Sicilians welcome the heavy clouds of spring. With a week to go until the Italian Freediving Championship in Sicily, Michele Rallo has suffered a personal blow. His fisherman grandfather has suddenly died. Michele pays tribute in a way his grandfather would have liked, by joining the annual Catholic procession of the Madonna of the Sea, la Madonna del Mare.
I wish to honor my grandfather, who always followed the procession. So I come here and I do my duty, because I know he would be pleased by this.
Perché so che lui gli piacerebbe questa cosa.
A statue of the Virgin Mary is carried through the village streets so she can bless the community.
My grandfather would follow the procession. Everybody would follow. The whole community unites through these rites, these traditions that in Sicily are felt very strongly.
Veramente molto sentito.
Then the Madonna is gently put aboard a fishing boat and sailed offshore to bless all those who live and work with the sea.
In Sicilia c'è una mentalità.
In Sicily, there is still a slightly more old-fashioned mentality. It's much more romantic, and there's more passion in respect to the sea, in respect to life.
Tomorrow is Michele's big chance to break into the world of professional freediving. But now it is not the competition that is important. In honor of his grandfather, Michele has decided to dedicate tomorrow's dive to him. It is the day of the Italian Freediving Championship. The warm, clear Mediterranean Sea that surrounds the island provides ideal conditions for deep water diving. It's Michele's first competition. His aim, to reach the qualifying depth of 170 feet needed to become professional. His dream, to earn enough from sponsorship to live a life by diving.
For me, the sport of freediving is very important. It's not only about my passion and love for the sea, it's about my life.
Ma è anche la vita il mare.
Beneath Michele are 6 safety divers trained to watch for danger signs. Michele must wait his turn as the more experienced freedivers swim first.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The competition is straightforward. The freediver who swims deepest and then returns to the surface on a single breath of air wins. The dive itself is far more complex. In the rush of the journey down, each diver must anticipate when he must turn in order to have enough air to swim safely to the surface. Michele is given a 5-minute warning before his dive. He must slow his heart rate and oxygenate his blood with long, slow breaths. It's a delicate balance. If he breathes too fast, he might black out. If he doesn't breathe enough, he could drown.
When I go down there, okay, I have the legs to go down, I have the muscles and they are strong, but I must be focused. Freediving is 90% mental and 10% physical.